Hello, this is going to be my UFC 293 instant reaction video. I'm only going to do the last three fights, but really just the last two. I don't want to go any longer than 10 minutes, absolutely maximum. Start with the Tuivasa versus, start with the main event, Strickland versus Adesanya. Who would have ever seen that coming out? If you would have said that this Sunday morning you'd wake up and Strickland would be the champion, I'd have said, like, no chance. Look at the odds. One of the biggest upsets ever in UFC title fight history, isn't it? But if you was going to say, right, somehow Sean Strickland wins, what would you have said? Lucky punch, injury to Adesanya, any other way? Lucky punch, injury to Adesanya. Like, I don't know, like Adesanya's 4-0 up and then in the last round just pulls out something lucky. Would you have ever said Sean Strickland would dominate Adesanya from the basically the first second of the fight? By what, round two, where Adesanya came on strong, but that was only because I think he got dropped so badly at the end of round one. I thought he was going to get stopped. It looked like he was going to get stopped. He turned his back on Strickland at one point, and Strickland dropped about, 6-7 unanswered punches, and I thought he was going to stop it, and he never. And then just dominated him for the rest of the round. It didn't look like Adesanya could get off. Adesanya, when you watch it, when he performs the best is when he's counter punching on the back foot, but also has spells of pushing you back as well. I don't think Strickland moved backwards once all fight ever. Like maybe in round two a little bit, but other than that, can anybody tell me an extended period of time where Strickland was moving backwards? Just a ridiculous performance, wasn't it? Like, I can't get over it. I know he's got he trains at a great gym. He's got Eric Nicksick's one of the best coaches in all of MMA. But even like when you listen to Eric Nicksick, he says stuff like, "Oh, Sean's going to fight, or he wants to fight. We can advise him, but he doesn't always listen." So you get the impression that Sean Strickland doesn't even really listen to his coaches. I know he spars like 60 rounds a week and stuff. And did you see that on the Embedded? He spars on fight week. He's sparring. And if you watch it, quite hard sparring on fight week. Who the fuck is sparring on fight week? Imagine getting cut 3 days before a fight because you've been sparring on fight week. He's just fucking ridiculous. And if you watch him as well, he does he do anything right? Like, he does a shoulder roll in MMA, which is just like, obviously I'm not an MMA practitioner. I don't really know much about MMA in terms of the technical side of it. But a shoulder roll in MMA, when there's that many different ways you can be kicked, you can be punched, elbowed. They could shoot for a takedown. And surely a shoulder roll is one of the worst ways of defending punches. And he pulls it off. He catches punches. He parries them. It's just madness. And then Adesanya, did he do, like, at the end of it, you're thinking, surely they're not going to rob him, but then it was at best you could give Adesanya one round. I don't think you could even have it free. Like, maybe if you was like a massive Adesanya homer, like, you could go 3 rounds to 2 to Strickland. There's no way you could get 3 rounds for Adesanya. There isn't 3 rounds for Adesanya in that fight. I honestly cannot believe it. My mind is blown. My bet was Adesanya KO or Tuivasa KO, and they both fucking lost. I honestly can't believe it. I don't know what you do from now, where they go from now, because there's something blocking the time here. Sources, move out the way so I can see how long I've been. I don't know where they go from here, because everyone's saying Adesanya deserves an instant rematch. Does he? I know he was like a long time reigning middleweight champion, but that's why he got the rematch against Pereira because of his reign. That's why he deserved that rematch instantly. If you lose your title twice in 3 fights, one where you get stopped, I know it was like he was up massively that fight, and then you get stopped in the last minute, and then this one where you get dominated. Why do you deserve an instant rematch? I think they'll probably give it him just because the UFC and Dana are obviously very bitter and they hold grudges, and Duplessis didn't take this fight when they wanted him to, did they? So they might give Izzy an instant rematch just because they don't want to give Duplessis the fight. And Strickland versus Duplessis, it's not really a big fight, is it? So if you can get a rematch between these two, Izzy somehow wins, and then you've got the Izzy Duplessis fight, which is obviously a massive fight if you involve all the racial undertones and the African undertones and whatever else. But yeah, and then obviously Strickland, he'll just fight anyone who gets it. I cannot believe Strickland beat Adesanya, how he beat him. How mad is this? What a weird Sunday. I'm glad I actually woke up and watched it, because you had to watch that to understand how fucking mad it was, didn't you? I tried to wake up for is it Cape? I don't know how to pronounce Cape, yeah, but I know I pronounce Cape in it, but I don't know his first name, Manor Cape or whatever. Tried to wake up for his fight, but set my alarm for the wrong time, woke up, I set it for the right time, snoozed it about 3 times, and by the time I actually got up and come down and had a brew and that, they were in the round 3 of the fight, so I didn't actually see the fight, but I did see the the post-fight interview where for how does the F word get dropped twice in a UFC broadcast on the same night? I've not heard fucking people use that in public in years. It used to just be a standard, not a homophobic slur, was it? It was just something like my era all called each other for anything. If you said, "Oh, do you fancy coming for a game of football?" and they said, "No," you go, "Oh, you fucking." Do you know what I mean? And then these two are using it. I think Cape could probably get away with it by saying he doesn't really speak English that well. He heard the other guy, whoever it was, saying it before him, and didn't seem like that much a big of a deal. So I suppose he could get away with it that way. I see that the first person who used it has released an apology, but fucking hell, how'd you hear that twice on a broadcast? So yeah, that's the main event, and then Tuivasa versus Volkov. How sad was that? Tuivasa, man, I love him, Bam Bam, and I don't think he was ever that good. If you look at the people who he beat, you beat like Greg Hardy, and then like Derek Lewis was a big win, but Derek Lewis can lose like that. Do you know what I mean? Derek Lewis can win and lose in bad ways. I don't think he was ever that good, and I remember when he lost like 3 in a row. I think in that 3 in a row he lost to Junior Dos Santos. Was that the third one? And it was looking like he was going to get cut. And then it was the Greg Hardy one where could Greg Hardy finish and have a bit more composure? He just stopped Tuivasa, and there's no way Tuivasa would have been kept on by the UFC if he'd have lost that fight. So I think the Derek Lewis fight's like the one that proper flatters him. But listen, everyone loves him. Right, he was ranked 6th before this fight, so you're thinking Volkov with the win will move up to at least 6, maybe top 5, which is mad, isn't it? Because he's had so many big losses, and Tuivasa, I don't know, maybe he'll just take Volkov's spot at 7th, because it's good to have someone like Tuivasa high up in the rankings, because he's such a big name. The UFC can feed him to someone like Almeida who they want to have a high ranking, do you know what I mean? I thought he did all right. Tuivasa, he was definitely hurting Volkov with the leg kicks, but the problem is with Tuivasa, why does he do a good leg kick and then doesn't get out, he doesn't move out the centre line, he kicks and just stays there and almost admires the kick. I don't think he admires the kick, I think he's probably a bit heavy and slow and he can't get out the way after he's kicked, but he was kicking Volkov and landing it, and it was nice, but in order to kick Volkov, he was having to take two clear shots. Volkov would land 2 on him before Tuivasa could get out after the kick. It was just, I just don't think he's that good. I think anyone who, like I was saying it all week, like anyone who watches MMA, or even in this case, if it was boxing, like, and you see someone who's a brawler like Tuivasa who comes against someone who's so technical, obviously if he lands a couple of big shots, because he definitely hurt Volkov a few times, landed a few good shots in him, obviously the leg kicks were hurting him, but you're just hoping he lands a big shot, like, because realistically, if Volkov keeps him on the end of his jab or his kicks or whatever, how does Tuivasa get inside? And the way he got inside on like Struve and that back in the day, he doesn't seem to be like that anymore. He doesn't seem to be able to maybe it's just because Volkov's so long and big, but Volkov seemed to get Tuivasa's timing within a minute, and he was just timing him all night, and you could tell from 2-3 minutes in that he was never going to win, and then tap into how you let yourself get Ezekiel choked from that position. It's quite amateur in it. I know who am I to say amateur, but yeah, it's quite amateur. But yeah, Volkov, Volkov probably go and fight anyone up, I don't know, someone, whoever the UFC give him, tied to Tuivasa, he needs to now start fighting lesser opponents. So who did Aspinall just lose to? Tybura, yeah, maybe a fight against Tybura, or even unranked, I would even say, get him against unranked, someone like Chris Dawkins or something. He's not beat Chris Dawkins, has he? I know Lewis did, and Curtis Blades and a few others. Get him against someone like Chris Dawkins, someone who is just going to fucking bomb out, get a bit of get him. I wouldn't even mind seeing Tuivasa now in 2 or 3 just complete squash matches where you just get him his name back out there, his confidence back up, a bit of a run, because he's another fan favourite celebrity fighter. He's never going to fight for the title. He would never win the title. I think John Jones could beat Tuivasa in about 30 seconds. So and same with Stipe and Aspinall and all these. There's no point in fighting them really. Even like the Gane fight, like I know he rocked Gane and hurt him, but that was like 30 seconds of hit like any success in the whole fight. The idea I said where him and Derek Lewis just fight each other, like I know I said every numbered pay-per-view, but if Derek Lewis and Tuivasa fought each other 4 times a year, every 3 months, would anybody be asked? I'd love that. Open the pay-per-view with them two every 3 months or every 4 months, and let's just let them two keep fighting each other, and we'll see who's ahead after like 10 fights. Because I'm not interested in watching Lewis get beat by like a Lewis versus Volkov rematch. I'm not interested in that. Volkov will just style on him and then beat him. I'm not interested in seeing Tuivasa versus Gane or Lewis versus Gane rematch or Lewis versus Aspinall or Tuivasa versus Spivak. Do you know? I don't know if he lost to Pavlovich. I'm not interested in seeing any of these fights. We need Tuivasa against strikers only, Lewis against strikers only, and they need to be just squashing people because they're not going to fight for a title. They're not going to climb up the rankings really anymore. They're both a bit done in terms of their ability, and even what you'd say two of their biggest things was punch resistance, and that seems to have gone a bit sore. We need to just stop matching these two with contenders. Right, I've gone 10 minutes now, so this is it. This is a short 10-minute instant analysis on UFC 293 in my lovely Star Wars Mandalorian pyjama top. Going to put this out straight away. Release. Live chat coming tonight about 7:30 or something like that. Bye.